Back on the Mark Haney show, learning about Mark Haney. This has been a lot of fun. We started with an episode learning about from boy to man and, growing up in the family business and, becoming an entrepreneur for the first time. And then in the last episode, we learned about Northern Video and how to become a leader and scaling a company and exiting and, all the lessons learned from there. So it's been an exciting journey. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's been very therapeutic. I appreciate, my past to some extent. I think if you look around my office and, I like to tell these stories when you're dragging it out of me today, but there's a story behind, everything here in my office. And I think there's a story behind every teammate that I've had. So it's been fun sort of going down memory lane with you.
Great. So now we're talking about building the backyard. So you had, this exit with Northern Video, and you talked about your brother saying, "Hey, I'm good. I'm going to retire," and you saying, "I'm not done yet. I need something to do, and I want to keep chasing something." And so, tell us about that chapter and that time in your life.
Yeah, so Paul, I think Paul and I both wanted different things out of the exit. I wanted to stay with the company and help it grow to $1 billion, achieve the $1 billion dream. And I think Paul was looking to for more financial security and so on. A lot of things that you want to do when you sell a company. So he's since retired. He is golfing. He's become a tremendous golfer. He's grocery shopping with his wife, so he's very popular at Rayleigh's. And I couldn't shut it off, right? So even though I didn't stay with the company, it wasn't in the cards for me to stay with my friends to grow the business. I knew that there was something more. The only problem is I didn't know what it was. When you expect to stay with your team and help lead them, and then you don't have that, you've got to. I had never really been in that point in my life, so for a long time. I think I was searching, and I think the first thing that happened to me is I got a call from Ronnie Garrison, Bob's wife, and I was still working at the old company and driving there, and hey, Bob owns this concrete company, and Bob could use a friend right now, Mark. And so this was 2010, mid 2010. So the financial crisis was somewhat in our rearview mirror, but not over. And I thought, well, maybe I could help my buddy Bob out with concrete. And so after I left my company, Bob and I ended up partnering up on his concrete company. And I didn't really know what I wanted at that point, but I knew I liked to sell stuff, so I helped Bob sell concrete. I learned a lot about concrete. We now have a very successful concrete company, which was fun. And I worked with my brother-in-law, and I doubled down on his business, which is now become the largest surveillance company in casinos, right? So, but he doesn't need me, so I'm sort of a silent partner in that business. I helped my daughter to build to invest into a startup. I flipped a lot of houses after selling the company, but she decided, hey, Dad, let's turn this into a real estate company. And so she built a successful real estate company, ended up merging with Coldwell Banker. And so now she's part owner of a very successful Coldwell Banker franchise. And so along the way, I'm still trying to discover, what do I want to be? So I joined the Entrepreneurial organization, right? EO. What happened is my next door neighbor moved into me, a guy next door to me, and a guy by the name of Tom Candress. And this was probably a year or so after selling the company. Became really good friends with Tom. He invited me to join EO. I'm selling concrete. I'm helping with surveillance. I'm doing a little bit of real estate, kind of trying to figure out what I want to be. Because I didn't really have my own thing. And now I'm a member of this entrepreneurs organization. And I met a guy by the name of Jack Crawford, right? He owns a venture capital company, and I saw what he and Tom were doing inside the Entrepreneurs Organization. What the Entrepreneurs Organization is entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs. And I think really that's what led me to this new discovery of what I really want to be when I grow up. And so I started a radio show, which has become a podcast. And sharing the stories of successful entrepreneurs. Well, the successful entrepreneurial stories, I think that's helpful to society. If I can do that, I can be part of this, helping entrepreneurs be entrepreneurs. So that was really kind of the idea behind the launch of the show. Well, along the way, you start meeting people, and I had a chance to make a couple of angel investments. And the first one, two, or three sort of got me hooked. As I invested into Bob, my brother-in-law, Todd, my daughter Ashley, and a few other small businesses, I'm like, I really like this idea of investing into small businesses and helping them. Some of my experience, some of my capital, some of my friends that are experts in business. What if we could help a lot more? So that's really what led to this thing that you call the backyard. I refer to as the backyard. So I get myself in short order up to about 6 or 7 businesses that I'm invested into, and I start imagining what this could be for our hometown, right? Entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs like EO. What if we had business partners helping business partners, right? Entrepreneurs that love one another, business partners that love one another, and me being the dreaming guy. So my favorite thing to imagine ended up being my backyard, right? So I have throwing a big party in my backyard whereby I'm up on the back deck, sharing the vision of what we can be in our hometown, and recognizing my business partners for their achievements, right? This is sort of my vision. It hadn't come true yet, but it was kind of like an imaginary dream of what success would look like. And success would look like me recognizing the achievements of my business partners. And as I look into my business partners' eyes as they're receiving their awards, I see in their eyes that they all love one another, right? It's like, wow, entrepreneurs that love entrepreneurs, finding synergy between portfolio companies. If I just had the critical mass, what if I could amass 100 business partners focused on each other that were all located here in our backyard of Sacramento, in my backyard in Loomis? How magical would that be? And how much more powerful would we be if we were like an army of entrepreneurs that loved one another and would go to war together, like my teammates went to war together to build businesses? And so that's really the backyard dream. And I think that's in many ways how you and I connected at a deeper level, Rick, is we invested into a portfolio company that deal Altwork, right? That does desks and workstations and stuff. And you were part of that company, and you were in the backyard as one of my business partners. And you heard me explaining this, and this dream was actually. It was really a magical moment for me, because it was like that feeling you get when your dream is in the process of coming true. And it sat there, and you have a picture of that, I know, because you've shown me that picture, and it's like, wow. And I think you, at some level, said to yourself, hey, Mark, I want to help you build out that backyard. And I think right now we have 40 or so companies, on our way to 100 plus. And you are now a part, you're a vice president here at Haney Viz, and you're a part of that. We are locked arm in arm together trying to achieve this dream that seems so much more possible today because you started and you have committed to helping me out. So I want to thank you. And here you are helping me share this story. But more importantly, you're helping me actually in the trenches building this thing out. So thank you for prompting this question, prompting this storytelling on the podcast, but really helping me to do this, because we're really at the beginning. We have some synergy building. But I mean, can you imagine, Rick, what this is going to look like when it gets to 100?
I can, and that's what's so inspiring. I mean, like you told the story, the team, as a portfolio company, I met the whole Haney Biz team, and they talked about this vision, but it sounded more like a dream, right? It said, well, that's a nice dream, but what are you talking about with 100, millionaire business partners? And I remember some key moments at your house. One was just walking up to your driveway and you and Marcus were out front greeting every single person. And that was the first time it clicked and said, wow, his dream is coming true and he's willing it to come true. I'm here as part of this dream. And so that was the first moment of just eyes wide open to this could be a real vision, right?
Yeah.
This could happen. And then, going in the backyard, the true backyard, and having you up there celebrating and awarding the people that helped you succeed in business. And I remember that was that other moment, sitting there and saying, this is what it would look like. This is what it would feel like. These people all love each other and we're celebrating. And this is a community. And, the power of community is so important. Not only in business, not only in your personal life, not only in your family, but, it was those moments where I said, damn, I got to help any way I can because more people need to be pushing this vision forward. So, thank you for having me as part of the team. And I'm really excited about what we're striving for. And I can imagine it because I think about it every day.
Yeah. It's been an interesting ride. There's a lot of lessons in here that come out, but you think about starting a radio show, and I touched on this a little bit earlier. We originally were thinking about having it be a real estate show. I guess I didn't mention that, but we were thinking, my daughter with being in real estate, hey, maybe we should make it a real estate show. Oh, I love entrepreneurship. Let's do entrepreneurship. The stories will be helpful. I had no idea it would lead to this backyard vision. So I think one of the lessons is sometimes you just got to show up, right? Sometimes you just got to put yourself out there. I was very nervous about starting something like a podcast or a radio show, no experience in that realm, and almost felt like it was like a dare. Can I do it? Will I do it? And I think I didn't really know where it would take me. I had no idea, but sometimes you just have to put yourself out there. If you just sit back wondering what it would be like, you don't get very far. But when you put yourself out there, you actually, I think, discover your calling, right? You discover who you really wanted to be. And that's all by getting off the sidelines, getting off the wall, and getting into the dance, right? And, so that's, I feel like, what we've done. It's now clear what we want to do. It's something that we can not only imagine, but it's actually happening. I'm not alone in this dream. There are other people that have decided to make it their dream as well. And you don't know how much that means, right? When other people say, I want to help you, I get it, I believe in it, I see why you're doing it, and it's for a good reason, and I want to help. When that begins to happen, that's the difference, right? That's the difference between failure, success and failure is, nobody builds a great company alone, right? And I know we're going to talk about that on future shows, but I mean, really having somebody, a second person, a third person, and then it becoming a thing, right? Maybe we'll ignite an entrepreneurial revolution right here in the hometown we love, right? It's beginning to happen. It starts here. It started with the show. It starts with a conversation, just like we're having today.
Well, I think it's already been ignited, and we're fanning the flames, and people are starting to see smoke. So it's really exciting. For those listening, and either they've heard this story before, or they know about the backyard goal, or those that are hearing it for the first time. You started to talk a little bit about it, which is getting off the sidelines. But you've seen successful entrepreneurs at the level you had with Northern Video, to your EO members and colleagues, to these early stage companies you've invested in. Those entrepreneurs that say, I want that vision, I want to be part of the backyard, what's the first step that they should take?
Yeah, I think it all starts with a conversation. So if you've got a big dream, whether you have a business or not, I don't think that matters. I think the first thing is be thinking about what you want to do, what your dream might look like. And the first thing you should do is begin to share that dream with somebody, right? So I think that's with somebody that cares about you, and see if you can get a second person to start, buying off on that dream. And, even before it becomes a business, I think go ahead and start the conversation. And those conversations, if they're going to lead to information, right, of validation of your dream. And I think when you get serious, then I think it's time to get more serious about who you talk to about it, right? So you talking to people who have been there, done that. A lot of people take business advice from the wrong people. They take business advice from people who have never built businesses before. I think any of us that have built businesses and had some success know that anybody can build a business if they have enough oomph, right? If they decide they're never going to quit, anybody can build a business. Anyone, right? If you never quit. Behind me, there's something that says, yes, if. Anything is possible, right? If you overcome enough of the obstacles and you don't quit, right? So that's the thing. Sometimes it takes a long time to build a successful business. Other times it happens more rapidly, but anybody can do it. And it all starts with a conversation, and you got to take a step somewhere, right? So it all starts with that first step.
So you've got your dream, you start this conversation, but next episode we're going to be talking about attacking passion, and I think it's important to think about that because there may be people out there that they don't know what their passion is yet, and so what do you say to them where they may not have discovered their passion, and without that passion they can't start the conversation, they can't dream, and they can't take that first step.
You don't know that you want to start a business then, maybe. I don't know, but I think if you don't have a dream, what I would say is go around, spend time with people that do. Go to work for a startup company. Go to work for somebody. Work with somebody. Spend time with people that are very forward-leaning, that are on a path to do something special in their lives. And that can be infectious. So if you don't have a dream, I wouldn't say go to work for the state of California. I mean, that might be one person's idea of steadiness, but I would say go be around somebody who's forward-leaning. Go volunteer to work with somebody that is working to build a dream. Go be around those people. And I think it'll rub off on you. And the other thing that happens, other people will see ideas for you. And what I mean by that is, if I go through the Starbucks or the whatever coffee shop and I get great service, you think I don't recognize that, right? So I see an employee walking across the corridor in our office, or somebody here in our co-working space. You think I don't notice how fast they're walking across the floor? If they have a pep in their step, are they remarkable? So great customer service at Starbucks, somebody hustling on a job site. People see that in you, and they want to find opportunities for you, right? You might not even you don't know where your next opportunity is coming from, but there's nothing like doing something remarkable. So even if you have a job of pushing a broom or swinging a hammer, if you do it in a way that gets yourself noticed, people will find opportunities for you. In fact, I'm looking for entrepreneurial business partners all the time. I would love to find a carpenter that knows how to build fences and help them build a fence contracting company. I mean, there's a shortage of good places to get to build fences, right? My concrete company is blowing up right now because partially because they're great at concrete, but in many reasons, there's not enough people to build concrete, to pour concrete right now. So we're looking, entrepreneurial opportunity can be created by being the best worker on your team, by having one of your clients recognize how good you are at your job. I'm looking continuously to help people start businesses. So So that's something that, and I'm not the only one, right? I'm not alone in my way of thinking. There are other people like me that recognize greatness in others. I make a practice looking for greatness. In fact, when I think about people doing great things, whether it be turning a double play, working over and over and over so that you perfect the turning of a double play on a baseball field. I mean, that practically brings tears to my eyes when I think about that level of hard work turning into great execution, turning into perfection. You can see that on a construction site. You can see that at Starbucks. You can see that at Haney Biz. I savor those moments of seeing people come with everything that they have. And if you are one of those people that comes to life with everything you have, opportunity will find you, my friend. I will find you.
I'm inspired. So starting with that commitment, finding your passion, having that dream, having the conversation, those are all steps to get to the backyard. We're taping this in the era of COVID, right? And I think we'd be remiss to not talk a little bit about the future. I think many times, or in the beginning, people thought it was an inconvenient interruption, right? That this would be a couple weeks and we'd be back to normal. But I think it's pretty compelling now that there's a new normal developing. Mm-hmm. And when you think about the backyard, so 2029, those 100 millionaire business partners, and you think about the economic impact that has had, what is your hope for the future economy and how these entrepreneurs work with government and how they work with universities and how this community of people has also developed into an amazing community to live, work, and play?
Yeah, interesting question. I'm stuck a little bit on I'm sorry because I'm stuck slightly on my last answer.
I'm glad that I could stump Mark Haney.
Yeah, so you haven't stumped me on that. What I would like to do is put that question up ahead because I feel like there's something else I want to say about passion. I'm sorry for I was as you were asking the question, I was sort of rethinking my last answer, and I want to make it clear that that people that wait around for finding their passion. A lot of people say, "What's your passion?" "Oh, I love football. I love sports. I like that stuff." But I don't think we need to find a sustainable passion, right? Number one. And I think if your passion is winning, right, go out and win at something. And you'll find I wasn't passionate about security cameras. I wasn't passionate about delivering televisions for my dad. I wasn't passionate about a lot of stuff, right? I wasn't passionate about concrete when I partnered with my buddy with the concrete. I was passionate about winning and doing something important in my life and helping other people achieve their dreams. So I think it doesn't have to be the product that you're passionate about. I don't think for most of us. I think it's the idea of doing something important, solving a big problem, even though you might not know the exact business model yet that it's going to turn into. The idea that being in a business, being in entrepreneurship, being around somebody with a dream is really a chance to do something important in life. And I think it's much more of a chance in entrepreneurship. You can make much more of an impact in entrepreneurship on a lot of other people's lives than you can if you have that 8-to-5 job where you really don't want to be there. Mm-hmm. So sorry for derailing that little bit of a sales pitch for entrepreneurship, and really it's okay not to know your passion, right? That's me. Right? You'll discover it if you put something into it.
You're passionate about winning, right?
Yes.
And so that is your passion. You want to win, right? So, if we unpack that a little bit, what can people be passionate about if they, what does winning look like does it touch everybody? Can everyone just be passionate about winning and then we can all push this world forward? Or can you be passionate about, other things that may not, the idea of winning, I think in business, a lot of times people think about, oh, I've made a company, it's profitable, it's successful, I've sold it. That's the story we're always told about winning in business, right? But when we think about a community, when we think about the future, what does winning look like?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. So one of the things that I did when I left my company and I was lost, I wrote a mission statement. With future generations in mind, I will help create opportunity for my family, my friends, and my community. And as they succeed, I succeed. My business partners have adopted that, and it's now as they succeed, we succeed, right? And I think for a community, there is not a zero-sum game. When one company wins or one of your teammates wins, it's really good for the other teammates. It's really good for the entire region when entrepreneurs win. So when I look at the broader effects of entrepreneurship and what it can have on our region and what it can have on a town, I think it's one entrepreneur at a time. So one entrepreneur hires people, right? We create jobs. The entrepreneurs are the ones that sponsor Little League teams. They're the most generous. The successful entrepreneur is very generous with his church or her church. And so it's like entrepreneurs are so good for society. So that's my broader vision. That's what winning in entrepreneurship means to me, is helping local entrepreneurs win is really good for the overarching economy. And it's really, I have entrepreneurs that live on both sides of me in my neighborhood. It's like having entrepreneurs living next door to you. It's like you have the most honorable people in your life as next door neighbors. I wish that on everybody. Right? I wish that on every member of society, to have successful, generous, hardworking people surrounding them. And I think the more of those that we have, for example, for our future, for future generations, right? The more that we learn about the successful entrepreneurs, the better, more that we believe, we can almost see ourselves in those people. So successful entrepreneurs become I call them the heroes of the American economy, because it's what many people should inspire to become. The real heroes are the ones that are out there on the battlefield, on the front lines, whether it's in healthcare or fire, police, fighting for our freedom overseas. Those are the true heroes. But the heroes of the American economy, these are the risk takers and the entrepreneurs. And if I'm looking at my grandkids and the younger generation, I want them putting entrepreneurs on pedestals. I want them hoping, I would love to see them hope to be job creators and a big part of the economy, because not everybody can go out and play in the NBA. Not everybody can be a hip hop rap star or what have you, right? But you can be a hero, right? You can be an entrepreneur. Anybody can do that. It's so much more achievable. There's only, so many Olympians every 4 years. But you know what? I think having big dreams is huge, and there's no dream too big in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs solve the world's biggest problems, right? Whether it be the school safety, right? The schools aren't as safe as they were when I was a kid, right? Entrepreneurs are the answer. You think about disease. How are we going to overcome these crazy diseases? Entrepreneurs are the answer. No matter what problem we have, entrepreneurs become the answer, and they do it through hard work, risk, sacrifice, all these traits that I believe in, that I respect, and that I think our young people should respect as well.
So there's plenty of people, I think almost anyone listening to this right now is going to be inspired, right? They're going to say, either they've been thinking about being an entrepreneur, so that's why they're listening today and they want to learn more, or now they're inspired to, spend time with entrepreneurs so they can find this passion and they can, pursue this thing. But, as you know, and you've learned from me, I'm a data guy, right? Entrepreneurship, lowest it's been in decades. And so I'm curious what your thoughts are when you think about politicians, when you think about large corporate leaders, when you think about educators, right? All of these people that can influence entrepreneurship and solving these problems. What's your challenge to them? I mean, because they're part of the equation, right? And I don't think that they're the sole part of the equation. So the entrepreneurs are going to solve the problems and challenge the status quo, regardless of those people and what they design. But they can create a lot of distraction. They can create a lot of noise. They can create a lot of hurdles. So, when you think about those people and how they could be part of this community, what's your challenge to them?
Yeah, I think open-mindedness, especially when you see the challenges of society, they probably are more likely to be solved by the most innovative. And I think the free market and entrepreneurship, and it really allows for that creativity and that innovation that's needed to solve these big problems. And so I think in the idea of being open-minded and embracing the entrepreneurial mindset is, so even if you're running a big company, think intrapreneurial, right? So allow freedom within your organization for these entrepreneurial teams inside a large organization. Partner with entrepreneurial companies to help them drive new initiatives, right? The public-private partnerships are a great way to change the world and get opportunities off the ground. So I call it the power of with, right? So if you take an entrepreneur with a dream and a passion and you partner with a large corporation like the Sacramento Kings or Rayleigh's or a city government like the innovation department over at the city of Sacramento, or the people at Placer Valley, right? The consortium of economic development people at Placer Valley or GSAC. These people with the deeper pockets can't do it alone. They need the entrepreneurs. And if you can combine the investor community, right, the venture capitalists and the angel investors and the private equity people and the banking community, I call it the power of with all of these leaders, with the financial people, with the entrepreneurs, with the government agencies and the larger corporations, anything is possible. We have to work together, and it's going to be one project at a time. And you need, if I'm speaking to a leader of Sacramento that's at the corporate level or at the government level, go be in the entrepreneurial community, spend time there, embrace them, and invest into them.
Great. So we're going to start wrapping up this segment where we've been talking about building the backyard, and we've been learning, your vision, now the Haney Biz vision. It's definitely challenging times, but you said that these times aren't unprecedented, that there's been plenty of entrepreneurs that have succeeded in challenging times like this. So I think most of the listeners will be inspired by this. But if there's someone who is, thinking about, can they succeed amongst all these challenges, despite all these challenges, what are some of your parting words of wisdom for those people?
I think in many ways it is unprecedented times, but I don't think tough times for any of us are unprecedented. So I would suggest that we all do a gut check. Think back to our life. I've got 56, 57 years of experience and painful moments, difficult times to fall back on. If you're a younger person, you still have difficult moments. I can think back to the challenges I had on the football field, right? And working together with a team and the other tough times that I've had. I mean, I was in the video store business, my friends. Think of it. Anybody who doesn't think that being in the video store business with cable and streaming coming on board, if you don't think those were challenging times, well, you have another thing coming, right? So these, in many ways, are not unprecedented times, right? You think about people who have had to, in the 2007, 2008, 2009 timeframe, I had to lay off and cut pay of my best friends. That's my best friends to take pay cuts during these times. I mean, are these really so unprecedented for a guy like me? I've had painful moments with teammates. I think about my son getting shot by someone, by the Taliban, right, in Afghanistan, and what that was like for my wife and I, the stress of having your child go through something so crazy as war, and you think about that looking back, and I think if you're thinking about that, Rick, or anybody who's thinking about, unprecedented times, we all have these times that looking back, right, were tougher than crap. But you know what? These were some of the moments in our life that were the learning moments, the things that toughened us up, the moments that taught us who we are deep down inside. In the end, we were happier at every one of those turns, even though they were difficult, even though they were tough times, even though they were mistake riddled. Coming out of them, I'm so happy that I went through them. I hope that you can take solace in knowing that this too will pass. We will come out on the other side of this stronger because of that. And I think the other thing that I would say is maybe even take in this moment a little bit and think about the people that are going through it with you, who are going through it, and I mean with you, right? If you're making sacrifices right now, who else in your life is making sacrifices alongside you, for the common, for a common goal? Think about your teammates that are doing that. Think about your loved ones at home that understand the stress that you might be having at work. Other people that are going through these moments, standing beside you now. These are the people that are standing beside you through the tough times. Those are the ones that you want going through you when you're kicking ass and when you're winning. Those are the ones that are going to help you get through that. Do not forget these people.
All right, we're ready. So thanks for sharing all that, Mark. We're wrapping this segment, introducing you to the Backyard Vision. In the next episode, we'll start to give you actionable steps on what Mark calls the power of with and building that inner circle. No one builds a truly great company alone. So we'll look forward to hearing from you, Mark, again on the next episode.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Rick.
All right.
Thanks for watching today's show. My goal for every episode is that you find a takeaway, something tangible you can use in your business today. And if you have a comment about a favorite takeaway, feel free to put it in the box below. And if you have a topic that you'd like me to bring up on the show, don't forget to let me know. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to learn more about entrepreneurship. Because at Haney Biz, we are always by your side.